The Rock came back on Monday Night Raw and he changed the game. The Rock absolutely changed the game after his appearance on Monday Night Raw, and we are all kind of just digesting everything that happened, sitting down, processing it, thinking about exactly what went down and how it affects everything going forward. Now, Triple H tweeted a couple of days ago something that was very interesting, right? There were rumors that started to leak out. And by the way, if you guys haven't realized by now, the new kayfabe is leaking things to the dirt sheets. Duh. They know that fans are so gullible for anything that they see online from their trusted sources, the Mike Johnsons of the world, the Dave Meltzers of the world, the Sean Ross Sapps of the world, all these highly credible people who have broken stories and are great news sources that we, the wrestling fans, trust. But smart wrestling promoters understand, well, if that's how you make them believe, then let's just put our information out through them. So a couple of days ago, some information started to leak that a former WWE champion would be showing up on Monday Night Raw. And all the speculation started. Well, it's the day one episode. Could it possibly be Big E? We would love to see Big E. I want to see Big E nice and healthy. I can't honestly say I want to see Big E back in the ring because I just want that brother to live a safe, happy, healthy life. He's in great shape. He's getting money from Fox last time I saw. He's got companies that are hiring him to represent their brands. So shout out to Big E out there getting this bread. Shout out to you, Big E. Would I love to see Big E on top of the wrestling world? Absolutely. Of course I'd love to see Big E back on top of the wrestling world. But I didn't think that's who was coming out on this episode, especially since considering it was day one, was the pay-per-view that he lost the title to Brock Lesnar. I didn't think that would have been, I thought actually that could have been an interesting story if Big E lost the WWE Championship at day one, then at another day one, 2 years later, came back and announced that he was returning to the ring. That actually would have been a pretty cool story. But nonetheless, it was not Big E. So a bunch of speculation started on who it could possibly be. There were rumors leaked that Andrade was finishing up with AEW. And people were saying, well, he was a former NXT champion. He was a former United States champion. Maybe when they said WWE champion, they meant any champion in WWE. So people had all types of theories, not Austin theory, but people had all types of theories as to who the mystery WWE champion could be. Now, here's something that was very interesting, and this is the type of thing that should always catch your eye. It should always catch your eye when the unusual happens. When something happens that's out of the ordinary of what we typically get from WWE or AEW or any wrestling company, right? Because you got to think like this, right? Their job is to tell us stories. So they plan out everything they want us to see, right? So when something happens that's out of the ordinary, that should make you go, okay? So Triple H tweeted a couple of days ago, he said, I can't confirm any rumors, but there is a former WWE champion coming to Monday Night Raw. Now, Triple H never tweets about rumors. Never tweets about rumors. Now, he didn't give anything away. But you should know that if something is big enough to get the attention of Triple H, he's got a lot of important stuff going on, right? Triple H doesn't make $5 decisions. Triple H makes $100,000 million decisions, right? Triple H makes big decisions. So if something was high level enough to come across Triple H's desk, it was a big deal. So that should have been your first clue that something big was going to happen. Then we watch Monday Night Raw, and they lead into this. They told us when they were going to break that a former WWE champion was coming, and that was coming up next. Okay, again, when The Rock came back as a surprise in, what was that? Oh gosh, was it September? When The Rock came back the last time. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it. He just came back. They didn't tease it or anything like that. And they love doing surprises, but they were telling you that something was happening. So when they said that the former WWE champion was coming and Jinder Mahal showed up, oh boy, people were mad. I saw the tweets. People were like, Jinder Mahal, come on, this got to be a joke. And when I saw Jinder Mahal walking out, my first thought was red herring. This is a red herring. For those of you who don't know, red herring is it's a term for something that's meant to misdirect you or like throw you off the scent of what you're really supposed to be looking for. So when I saw Jinder Mahal, I was like, red herring. This is something. This is like a trick. So of course, Jinder Mahal comes out. He starts doing the typical foreign heel shtick. You guys don't like me because I look different from you. I speak different. You're Americans. You're so dumb. You're so divided. This is your national anthem in Punjabi and all of this stuff, right? Typical shtick. Then The Rock's music hits. The If You Smell. Everybody loses it. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Now, I had also seen some tweets that said The Rock was in California for College Game Day. The Rose Bowl was on the same day as this episode of Monday Night Raw. So The Rock was at College Game Day, and the last time The Rock appeared on WWE TV, he was in Colorado for something, and he made the trip from Boulder, where College Game Day was, to Denver, where the episode of SmackDown was being taped. So I definitely had the bug in my ear that it was probably The Rock, right? So when The Rock's music hit, The Rock comes out, I'm like, okay, typical Rock segment, right? He's going to come out, and sure enough, it was. He was doing his thing. He's this guy's chance this. Your side chance this. You're a douchebag. You're a douchebag. But people were loving it. That's kind of the fun thing about WWE, right? Is like something can happen that you've seen a million times when you're at the show. You eat it up just like it's the first time you ever saw it. Because that's part of the fun, is being part of the crowd, being part of the chant or whatever, and just going along with it, right? So typical Rock segment, he gets the crowd to chant things at Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal attacks The Rock. The Rock hits him with the spine buster, hits the people's elbow. All right, boom, boom, boom. We get ready to go home. So people's elbow, Jinder Mahal rolls out of the ring. The Rock grabs the microphone, and then The Rock says this.
I'm gonna go get something to eat. When The Rock goes out to get something to eat tonight in San Diego, should The Rock sit in a booth?
What are you talking about, man?
Or should The Rock sit at the bar?
Sure, bars are cool. Right? Probably just you by yourself. Why not?
Yeah, The Rock loves a bar too. Or should The Rock sit at the head of the table?
Woo! That was it. That was it. And as you can hear, the people lost their ever-loving minds. I guess it took a few minutes to circulate through the crowd what was going on.
No, by the way, one more thing.
But The Rock, he's so, this is one thing that The Rock is so good at, right? Is taking in the moment, right? Taking in the moment, letting the crowd know that he is feeling their energy. And that's one thing I learned about when you're in front of an audience. They respond to the energy that you give them. So when you give the crowd your best energy, and when they feed you back energy, and you let them know that you're feeling their energy and that you're feeding it back to them, it just makes them go even more. And that's one thing that The Rock has just mastered. There's a few people that are really great at that. John Cena is another one, right? John Cena can come out and it's the same promo every time, but every time the people are on their feet, swinging from the rafters by the time he's done with it. It's just, there's an art to mastering the crowd that few people have. And The Rock absolutely did that in that moment. He stood there, He let all the people throw in their cheers, yeah, Rocky, right? And he's just sitting there, okay. And then he's like, all right, I hear you, and throws the mic down. Now, what does this mean, right? What does this mean? Because there's one of two things that happened last night, okay? Now, I'm a pour a little bit of water on the fire here for a second, and I just want to talk about the possibility of what it could be that maybe everybody doesn't like. I know you want me to get you hyped up.
Hey, yo,
I know you want me to get you hyped up, and I'm gonna get you hyped up, but there's a chance that what happened last night was The Rock trying to convince Endeavor, trying to convince TKO that this is something that people are still interested in. There's a chance that The Rock was trying to convince the people who signed the checks that The Rock versus Roman Reigns is worth investing in. Why are we talking about investing? Because, as the boy Fat Joe said, yesterday's price is not today's price. What does that mean? Listen, look at when The Rock was on the Pat McAfee show before the last time he came on SmackDown. One of the things that went viral was The Rock saying that he and WWE were on the same page and that the Rock versus Roman Reigns match was going to happen. But he said, we just couldn't come together. We wanted to do something that's never been done before. And we were right there, right? Right there. I'm calling shenanigans because what I think really happened, I think they had the agreement. I think the plans were in set for the match. And then they came back and said, all right, so what's it going to take to get this done? The Rock's like, all right, cool. Here's my number, right? They look at this number and they're like, yeah, but Rock, we've booked you before for this number. And he's like, yeah, but this is a big time. This is it's WrestleMania Hollywood. This is your tribal chief. This is going to be his crowning moment, right? Like, he's already beaten everybody. You come back and you solidify his reign by having him dominate the person that people think about most when they think about this bloodline. This is the story of the bloodline, and this was going to be the period, the exclamation point on the bloodline story, Roman's chapter of dominance as the tribal chief, with him beating The Rock. That was going to solidify. That's it. Sign, seal, deliver. This is the era of Roman Reigns, which, by the way, it already has been the era of Roman Reigns. And if you look at WWE eras, they kind of go in about 10-year cycles. I was talking to my man Omar a couple of months ago. We were talking about WrestleManias, and he said something that I really thought of, and he was like, the zero WrestleManias, WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 30, when you're coming up on WrestleMania 40, those zero WrestleManias usually signify the end or beginning or transition out of one era to another. And when I say one era to another, it's usually a pretty significant change. It's like the changeover from or like recognizing the end of Bret Hart's time, right? WrestleMania 10, go back and watch that. It was a celebration of Bret Hart, right? Now, it wasn't the exact end of his time, right? I mean, like, but look forward a few years, right? A few years later, they're phasing him out. He didn't love it so much, and we saw how that ended, right? WrestleMania 20, different time, the end of the Monday Night War period, and we're going into a different time. WrestleMania 30, the big Daniel Bryan moment, and also they were preparing for the Roman Reigns era, because what happens at WrestleMania 31? We get the first Roman versus Brock Lesnar, right? So we're coming up on WrestleMania 40, and WrestleMania 39 was, I think, it wasn't the end, but it was the it was the exclamation point on the Roman Reigns era. Roman Reigns main evented all these WrestleManias with varying degrees of success, right? Not necessarily talking about wins or losses, but crowd response. By the time we got to this WrestleMania, there was no question. Roman Reigns was unquestionably the hottest thing in WWE, the biggest draw, the headliner. There was no one else you can honestly, reasonably consider for that spot. We had gotten to, this story, which was a shot in the arm for the business of WWE coming out of the quarantine, going back into live touring. People were talking about this Bloodline story as something that should be nominated for an Emmy for the level of storytelling they were doing. I mean, this was phenomenal. I've said it many times, and I'll say it again right now. The Bloodline story was the story of this generation of wrestling fans. Like, it absolutely was. It absolutely was. And, I'm not going to go off on tangents about how it should have ended, whatever, yada, 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 yada. But the point is, WrestleMania 39, I believe the objective there was for that to be Roman's biggest moment, the crowning moment of when you look back on WWE history 10 years from now, WrestleMania 39 is going to be the moment when you're like, okay, that's where WWE was at this time. Look at WrestleMania 39. That is a snapshot of where the business was. That's a snapshot of what was going on in WWE. That was a snapshot of who's hot and who's not. That's a snapshot of where the level of storytelling and technology and production was. I mean, WrestleMania 39 was that, and there's no way that they did not want The Rock to be the opponent for that moment, okay? So we know that they wanted to get this match done. And again, somehow it didn't get done. And look, The Rock's in shape. The Rock's always in shape. His cardio may be, a lot of people commented, The Rock was winded after doing a spine buster into people's elbow. Okay, cool. But you know what? Look, we've all seen The Rock's gym. He's got treadmills and Stairmasters and all of that. I'm pretty sure he can post up at the Performance Center for a few weeks and get some reps in with Carmelo Hayes to get his wind up, okay? Getting in shape won't be a problem. It's never been a problem for The Rock, okay? And the thing that held up the match, it had to be money. He can say it's creative because, in America, especially the super rich, they're not allowed to talk about money without getting criticized by us poors, okay? But The Rock, the holdup was money. The holdup was money. And look, WWE was recently purchased by Endeavor and they, combined with UFC to form TKO Holdings. And here's another interesting thing. I wasn't aware of this nugget, but I picked it up listening to the this week's past episode of the Solid Monster Sounds Off. And on that episode, the Solid Monster pointed out that Endeavor AI has eliminated WWE's analytics team. So basically, because Endeavor bases all their analytics off of their AI platform, they don't have people analyzing the data saying, hey, this means that, and here's the strategy we should take. They do all that through AI, okay? So that means they've gotten rid of all the people, all the humans who were getting paid to do that kind of job for WWE. What does that mean? It means they've saved a lot of money. They've saved a lot of money by, taking people's jobs away. Now, what do companies do when they save money? Well, a lot of them just pay out dividends to their already super rich CEOs. Not saying that Endeavor won't be doing that, but another thing that good businesses do is they reinvest that money to make more money. So the money that they saved by doing things like consolidating, now maybe they have a little more cash flow. And by the way, if Endeavor was looking, anytime anybody takes something over, they're looking to make a splash, right? So if this is going to be the first WrestleMania under TKO, under Endeavor, they want it to be as big as possible. They do not want to look back and say WWE business started declining the WrestleMania after Endeavor took over. So what does all this mean? This means that if they talk to Triple H and said, or they talked to Nick Khan and Triple H, whatever, and they said, why can't we get The Rock? And they said, yeah, well, we were booking The Rock for this. Now The Rock wants this. And we were like, hey, that's a little rich right now. That's a little rich right now. The people at Endeavor said, rich for who? We can do that. So they found out what The Rock wanted to make. They decided to cut the check. And as soon as The Rock said that, I texted my boys. I said, Endeavor cut the check. Because I knew that's what it was. That's what made the difference. Endeavor has cut the check. Now, there's a lot of speculation. Oh, well, they could do this match at Elimination Chamber and Cody could still finish his story at WrestleMania. Let me tell you something. I love you, Cody. But look, no disrespect to Cody Rhodes, okay? Cody has earned his spot. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. Cody should have won last year. He should have. I sat right here in this chair and I said that they're never going to have that moment again. They're never going to have the moment where the momentum is just right for Cody. I said they would do Roman and Cody again. But I said they're never going to be able to recapture the moment where Cody is as hot as he was going into last year's WrestleMania. And they made the choice. Let's squeeze a little more life out of it. Let's squeeze a little more juice out of it. If Cody's really so hot, then why don't you be hot again next year? Okay, cool. And Cody would have been. Okay, Cody would have been. They very well can stay the course and do Roman versus Cody at WrestleMania 40. Everybody already knows that it's coming. Everybody already suspects that it's coming. But I said it. Oh, man, I said it. Not to be all I told you so, but I told you so. I said the only thing that can deter Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania 40 is if The Rock comes back. And what just happened? Dwayne showed up, dropped the people's elbow, dropped the eyebrow, said, head of the table. And that's it. That is it. Listen, no disrespect to Cody, but you don't pay whatever The Rock cost to do that match at Elimination Chamber. Okay? Somebody tweeted me, oh, well, if Australia's willing to pay for it, I mean, maybe, right? Like if the people who are hosting it from Australia is like, hey, what does it cost to book The Rock? We'll cover the fee. They're like, all right, hey, you know what? You want to take $5 million off our plate? And I'm just throwing that number out there. I don't claim to have any information on what it costs to book The Rock. But maybe, right? That is totally possible. I will concede that is totally possible. But logically, realistically, you don't pay what it costs to book The Rock and do that match anywhere other than WrestleMania. I mean, like, that's it. You do that match at WrestleMania. You got people flying in from all over the world. It is your signature event of the year. It is the signature event in the industry. WrestleManias are time markers for the wrestling business. Like, hate it or love it. And, I almost hate coming off like this because I've never been that person who's so super pro WWE. I grew up in the NWA territory. So to me, WWE was always that other thing. But at some point, right, like you got to just respect facts and reality. And the fact is, and the reality is that WWE has saved and preserved the wrestling business. Every other wrestling business has gone out of business, sometimes with Vince McMahon's help, oftentimes with Vince McMahon's help. But if they had the strategies and the support and the systems in place to fight off a powerful challenger, they'd still be in business today. So the fact that WWE exists is a great thing for the wrestling business. The fact that WWE owns the libraries of all these previous other wrestling territories that existed is a great thing for the wrestling business. So those of us who have liked other wrestlings besides WWE and think that other wrestling companies do wrestling better than WWE, that's fine to think that. That's okay. But you cannot discount the importance of the existence of WWE, of what WWE means to wrestling. WWE is, I'm not gonna say WWE is wrestling, because wrestling will always exist. If WWE went out of business tomorrow, there would still be, indie wrestling promotions. Somebody would, buy up a wrestling TV show. Like, wrestling will always exist. This art form of entertainment has been around forever, and it will be around forever. But WWE has taken this art form to such a high level, and they've preserved it and put it in a place where we can all see it and go enjoy it. If I tell my kids, man, Sting versus the Steiner Brothers in 91, y'all know nothing about that. Guess what? They can go look that up on Peacock. If I tell my kids, listen, when you guys get a little older, I'm gonna show you the crazy stuff that Raven was doing in ECW. They can go look that up on Peacock or whatever iteration the WWE network will take on next, okay? Like, WrestleMania is important. It is the event in the wrestling business. So The Rock versus Roman Reigns is a WrestleMania match. The Rock versus Roman Reigns has to happen at WrestleMania. That's the only place you do this match, okay? Absolutely, positively, that's where you do this match. Again, unless the people who are hosting the Elimination Chamber are willing to pick up the bill completely, then I could see you doing that. Other than that, sorry, Cody, that's a wrap on you, okay? That's a wrap. But where is this gonna go? We are sure to see, but daggone it, man, WrestleMania is looking something crazy. As of right now, WrestleMania is slated to have The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. My goodness. Woo! Wrestling fans, we are in for a treat. So sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Speaking of enjoying it, if you like what we're doing here, please just take 1 second real quick, hit that like button, drop a comment on any of the stuff I just said. Let me know if you think I'm right. Do you think it's going to be Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania? Do you think they'll try to do that match earlier or later? Are they going to push that back? Okay. Subscribe to the channel. Show your support. Hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time I drop some brand new fire content on this page. And most importantly, the best thing you can do if you want to support the channel, tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's bring more people into the conversation.